Hello everybody and welcome back to Carried Away Travels. In this week's video, I am so excited to tell you about something that has been on my bucket list forever. And if it's on yours too, you are absolutely going to love this. It's swimming with pigs in Nassau, Bahamas. Now, this is one of those experiences that I saw on social media and immediately thought I have to do this. I actually have quite a list of things that I've wanted to swim with in the wild, like dolphins and whale sharks, sea lions, sea turtles. Pigs is kind of an unexpected one, but they looked so cute, and the water in the Bahamas is just so clear. It just looked like such an incredible and unique experience. So it's something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. Now, last month we actually took our first ever cruise with Carnival Cruises, and we went to the Bahamas, and one of our stops was in Nassau. So I knew that this is what I had to do more than anything else while we were in the Bahamas. And so we made sure to prioritize that. We actually ended up booking this excursion directly through the Carnival cruise line. However, you can book this exact same experience through the Pig Beach website, but I will tell you all about that. And if you are coming in on a Carnival cruise specifically, I'll explain why you might want to go directly through the cruise line with this one rather than shopping around for other tours as well. So in this video, I just want to walk you through all the details of this particular adventure, how we booked through Carnival, how much it cost, what you need to bring, what it was like, and just everything you need to know to decide if this is a good fit for you. By the way, if this is your first time here, I'm Carrie, and I share helpful travel tips, itineraries, gear recommendations, and more, so you can always have the perfect trip. If that sounds like the kind of videos you want more of in your feed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more adventures like this from me in the future. And just a quick side note, this is actually the first in a short series of videos I'm going to be doing about our cruise to the Bahamas. We actually were the second group of people to go on the newly refurbished Carnival Sunshine. So that was just completely redone. So I'm going to be doing a full review of the ship and all the things we got to do, the different ports. We went snorkeling with reef sharks while we were in Bimini. Like, there's just so much that we were able to do. So if you are interested in visiting the Bahamas, and especially if you're thinking about taking a cruise with Carnival or the Carnival Sunshine, make sure you stay tuned because I'm going to be sharing so much information from our trip. But not for the real reason you're here, the piggies. Alright, so if you go to book a Swimming with Pigs tour in the Bahamas, you are actually going to find quite a few different options. There are tours that are just 2 hours long and they take you straight to the pigs and back. There are tours that are like 5 hours long and they include lunch, and they have extra stops like beach time or snorkeling with sea turtles. Like, there are just so many different options to choose from. So you do have the opportunity to kind of pick a package that's really tailored to your interests. Now, I did a lot of research on both the Carnival cruise excursion list and Google, just like Viator and Get Your Guide, just to do a lot of comparison. And I personally really wanted to maximize my time out and about. Nassau is kind of known for like its shopping scene if you're just in the port, but I really wanted to be out there enjoying the water, the pigs, the beach. Like, that was really what I wanted to do. So I was much more interested in a 5-hour excursion than one of the shorter ones. We ultimately ended up booking a 5-hour tour to Pigs Beach, which is one of the two most popular pig beaches in Nassau. The other is like Rose Island, but Pig Beach has its area with the pigs, and then it also has Sun Cay on Pearl Island, which is like a 3-minute boat ride apart. And so we got a package that included transportation to and from the islands, time with the pigs, food for the pigs, and then a good chunk of time just to relax and enjoy Sun Cay as well, with lunch included. So I was very happy with that package overall, and that's actually something you can book with the cruise line or off the cruise line on the Pigs Beach website if you do decide that you want to do this exact same tour. But whether or not you want to book this exact tour or not, If you are coming in on a cruise ship, I do want to cover some very important points about booking that you should definitely know before you just go off and try to book your own thing. So we booked this excursion directly through the Carnival Cruise Line for $150 per person. That again included transportation, activities, food. It was a pretty good deal, and it was actually fairly comparable to a lot of the like 4 and 5 hour trips that I found online. So there was a part of me that always kind of wants to save a few dollars, but we did ultimately end up booking directly through the cruise line because, if you're not aware, if you are in port with a cruise and you book an excursion by yourself and you don't make it back to the boat in time, they will leave you. So, although it is a beautiful place, I had no desire to be stranded by myself in the Bahamas and have to shell out more money to either get to the next port or go home by myself. So, it was worth it to me to spend like the extra few dollars to book directly through the cruise line because they have a guaranteed return. If you book through the cruise and your excursion runs late, you are still guaranteed to get back on the boat. So, that is a huge peace of mind. And to me, that was just totally worth it. However, if you are in the Bahamas independently, maybe you're not on a cruise, or you still just want to book this tour by yourself, you can do that, like I said, through the Pig Beach website. However, it is $189 per person. So they actually give a special rate to people on the Carnival cruise, which I thought was a really big perk. So that obviously means if you are trying to book this tour independently, you are paying a fairly high rate compared to some of the other pig excursions you're going to find in the Bahamas. However, for the experience that we had, I really think that even that $189 per person price would have been worth it. Like, we got to do so much stuff. Everything was so seamless and we had an amazing time. So obviously that's going to ultimately be your decision, but hopefully I can answer all your questions and concerns in this video to help you decide if this particular tour is the best fit for you. All right, so whether or not you book with the cruise, this excursion starts at the Nassau port. They will give you a specific meeting location that you need to be at about 15 minutes before the departure time. Now, because we booked with the cruise line, we actually gathered right outside of the boat, and a staff member put bracelets on all of us and then led us directly to the departure point just to make sure everyone was where they needed to be. And then from there, they handed us off to the Pigs Beach staff, who took us on a 30-minute boat ride to Pearl Island. Now, this was an absolutely gorgeous boat ride. We passed the Atlantis. We saw so many beautiful houses. The water was gorgeous. Like, it was a really nice boat ride. So we really enjoyed that. And the whole time they had staff members that were sharing little stories and fun facts and different things. So they did have an entertainment element to it as well. When we got to Pearl Island, they actually had us split into 2 groups based off of the color of the wristband that we were wearing. And so we were actually in the first group to go swim with the pigs, which was absolutely perfect. And you can actually see Pig Island from Pearl Island. It's like a 3-minute boat ride. So we just stayed on the boat, and then they took us directly across the little channel there to the pig beach so that we could swim with the pigs. Now, when we first pulled up there was another group that was finishing up their time. So it looked a little crowded, but they cleared out in about 5 minutes. And then we were able to claim beach chairs, put our stuff down, and then start interacting with the pigs. So there are a few pigs that kind of stayed out the whole time, some of the smaller ones, and then they had a couple other sets of pigs that came in shifts, which I'll explain in a minute. But the ones that are out there are just so sweet. Honestly, they were just like little dogs. One of them, this cute little pot belly pig, wagged his tail all the time. His little curly tail was just wagging. Turns out if you rub their bellies, like you walk up to them and they're standing and you rub their belly, they will flop down and roll over so you can rub their belly. Like, how cute is that? It was so perfect. And that was before we even got to like the main event, which was like swimming with them and feeding with them. I was having a blast from the moment I stepped foot on this beach. So once everybody was settled in, some of the staff members started handing out cups of food. And I was actually really happy with how much they gave us. Like, they had a pretty full cups of food for us with like bamboo skewers. And that is how we fed the pigs. You do not feed them directly by hand. You're also not supposed to stick it straight out in front of you. You feed them from the side. Like, they gave us a nice little safety instruction part, and then they went and they let out the pigs. So some of these guys were huge. Like, these were big pigs, and they all ran out and they were so excited to get their food. So they just charged right into the water with us, and they were so cute because they would go from person to person, just kind of doing little drive-bys. It reminded me of Pac-Man. They would just chomp off of one bamboo skewer and go on their way and chomp off the next one as they made their rounds. And they didn't fill up. So it wasn't like, you know, a petting zoo where if you get there later in the day, they're not hungry. Like, these guys were ready to go no matter how many treats they'd had. So that was fun. They had a lot of enthusiasm. That gave me enthusiasm. It was just so much fun. But with that in mind, these pigs are obviously there for the food, and they can be a little bit pushy. So just be aware that sometimes the pigs may approach you whether or not you have food. They are very sweet, but don't be alarmed if they come up to you and you don't have anything. They may check out your phone or your camera. Another thing to be aware of is they don't really look where they're going. So make sure you watch your toes. I actually got stepped on a couple times and it was fine, but it didn't feel great. So you might want to have some water shoes as well just to protect your feet. So just be aware of where you are and where the pigs are at as well. Now, after everyone had had a chance to feed the pigs and were out of food, they actually sent those bigger pigs back into a pen, and they brought out 3 adorable little babies, and we got to hold them for a photo op. That was probably the highlight of my day. We got to hold this super cute little 4-month piglet, and he was sleeping, and he was making little grunting noises while he was in my arms. He had his eyes closed. It was so cute. So cute. It was so much fun. So that is definitely a huge perk of booking this tour. I don't think that was mentioned on the listing, and I don't remember seeing that as being part of a tour with any of the other tours I looked at. So I absolutely love that part. So we got to hold the baby pigs, take some pictures, and after that we just kind of relaxed on the beach for a while. They had some swings with photo ops. They had some souvenirs you could buy. Dino came away with a Pig Daddy shirt because apparently Pigs Beach is run by the original Pig Daddy. And then we spent some time just kind of waiting around in the waters as well. The water is super clear here. So once the pigs left and the waters calmed down a little bit, a lot of really cool fish came by. And so we were able to wade out in the water and see some of those. And that's pretty much how we spent our time until it was time to head back to Sun Cay. So Pearl Island is a cool enough spot that I'm actually going to do a full video review of that as well in a couple weeks here. And so since the main highlight of this particular excursion is swimming with the pigs, that's what I wanted to focus on today. But I do definitely want to give you like an overview of the things you can do at Sun Cay on Pearl Island as well, just so you know what you'll get to do for like the remaining 2 hours of your trip. So it was lunchtime when we arrived. So the very first thing we did was go get our included Bahamian lunch. And there was a decent line for that, but it went by pretty quickly. Now, something to keep in mind is when you get on the boat, they hand you tickets for your meal, and if you lose those, you cannot get your meal. So make sure you put those someplace safe when they hand them to you so that you can have that free lunch. Now, this was actually a pretty good meal. Like, they gave you decent portions. It included barbecue chicken, fish fingers, peas and rice, and like a coleslaw salad, and then they had water for everyone as well. If you wanted another drink, they did have a bar there, but that was an additional purchase. Now, if you're looking for an extra special treat, there is a hut just down the road from the dining area that will make fresh conch salad when you walk up. Now, I couldn't have any because I'm allergic to seafood, but Daniel got some, and this was a really cool kind of experience to see the guy literally pull the fresh conchs out of the shell and chop up all of the ingredients right there, and it was a really big serving. Like, Daniel came away very, very full. After that, we went ahead and just explored the island from tip to tip, and there is a lot you can do here. One of my favorite things was the iguana cay, where you could go into this special enclosure and they have this big orange iguana that they will teach you about, and you can pet and you can even hold. So I had no idea that was a thing. I came away at the end of the day having held a baby pig and a big iguana, so that was super cool. There are plenty of spots for you to lay out and enjoy the beach. They have like kayaks and stand-up paddle boards and a water trampoline, all on a first come first serve basis. There's a lighthouse that has a gorgeous view of the island. You can go all the way to the top. They have little seating areas inside. There are different restaurants you can check out, little souvenir shopping huts. Like, there's just so much you can do here. So whether you want to do some souvenir shopping or just relax or be a little active, you can pick whatever you want to do for the rest of that 2 hours and have a great time. We actually ended up spending so much time exploring the island that we didn't leave ourselves with a ton of time left to relax, but that's one of the reasons I wanted to do a separate in-depth video later. So if you are thinking about visiting Pearl Island with or without the pigs, you can know in advance what there is to do and then decide how you want to spend your time. Now, when our time in Sun Cay was over, we all gathered back on the boat. And something to keep in mind, if you are coming with a cruise, we did have to show them our Carnival Cruise ID card before they would let us back on the boat. So anytime you're in port, make sure you have that with you in a secure location. And then we had a 30-minute ride back to the port. We passed the Atlantis again, and we also passed Paradise Island, which is where a lot of very famous people have their million-dollar mansions. And so the staff pointed out a few of these homes and told us who lived there. And so that was kind of a cool addition to the trip. So that concludes the actual tour review. If you could not tell, I absolutely love this. It was amazing. I would 100% do it again. And I think that if you are even remotely interested in swimming with the pigs in the Bahamas, you should do it. And I think you would have a great time on this specific tour. But just to wrap things up, I do want to point out a few specific items that you are going to want to have with you during the day just to make sure that you can thoroughly enjoy yourself and you stay safe. First up, you are going to want sunscreen. If you hadn't put it together, the Bahamas are very, very sunny. So make sure you have some good waterproof sunscreen. And I also highly recommend you get reef safe sunscreen. It's just so much better for our oceans and the creatures that live there. I also recommend water shoes for the portion where you're in the water with the pigs. As I mentioned, my feet got stepped on a couple different times and I was just barefoot. I do think having water shoes on would have helped that a little bit. And as these are animals, there is also the possibility that as you're walking around on the beach, you may step in a present that one of the pigs has left behind. Now, I do want to point out the staff was phenomenal about staying on top of that, right? I watched a pig do his doo-doo right in front of me. Was not fun, but I was like, I need to get out of the way. The staff was right there. I saw some reviews where people were complaining about there being pig poo, but it's gonna happen. And again, the staff was there and like 30 seconds and they'd fished it all out of the water. They were monitoring the beach. That's just kind of a possible hazard. But for peace of mind, it could be a good idea to have some water shoes with you as well. And of course, you should definitely have a waterproof phone case or like a GoPro so you can document your experience here, just something that you're not afraid to get wet so that you can take pictures both on the beach and in the water. Last but not least, make sure you have plenty of water with you. A refillable water bottle is a great idea. They do have water available on Sun Cay for you to fill up at any time. So make sure you are drinking plenty of water the whole day just so you don't get dehydrated. And just one final tip for anyone who's booking this excursion independently or any excursion on a cruise ship: leave yourself plenty of time to get back to the boat. When the boat looks like it's about a 3-minute walk away, it's probably a 10-minute walk away. Some of the ports have extra security you have to get through, and there can be big lines, and then you may have to run all the way down the dock and then all the way down to whatever bay door is open for you to get on your boat. Just leave plenty of time so you don't have to stress and you don't risk getting left behind. All right, everybody, that concludes this video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you were planning on doing this excursion, I hope you're really excited because it is absolutely awesome. I know you will have an absolute blast while you're doing this in the Bahamas. It was well worth spending our port day here. I have zero regrets. It was so much fun. I hope I answered all your questions, but if you do have any additional questions or comments, please feel free to drop those down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I also have a full written blog post about this experience on my blog at cochranewriting.com if you want to go ahead and check that out as well. If you enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, save, and share it with your friends. And if you want more videos like this from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go to follow Carried Away Travels. Thank you once again for stopping by, and I wish you many happy travels.